Hey, Shalom, welcome to Rakam Akapash from Jim S. London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Vachach Hodash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole for that pushing his truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video. And this lesson was just inspired from this passage here in Matthew chapter 1. You know, I was reading, I didn't get very far into it, but, you know, something in the spirit popped out to me. So I thought I'd do a video on it. Because in times past, you had these different Israelite groups that, you know, didn't believe or wouldn't believe that Israelites born to uh, heathen women were deemed to be Israelites or legitimate Israelites. They would call them mamzers, right? And therefore not real Israelites that don't, you know, wouldn't receive the promises, right? Which is totally wrong, right? And and all you got to do is you know read and know a little bit about the history of the creation of the children of Israel to understand this. But you know, I was prompted to do this video. You know, we've done other videos about this in the past, but you know, reading the Lord's lineage, right? Yahweh Shai's lineage, right? Because this is the generations of Yahweh Shai, as it says at the top, the book of the generations of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham, right? And so we're gonna go through we're gonna go through the whole thing. We're gonna get to these points, right? But you're gonna see the generations of Yahweh Shai here, right? Where he stemmed from. And it's strange because this whole list here is all about the men that begat, you know, other men, their sons. But there are a few notable mentions of a few of the women that were involved in this process, right? Because obviously, you women, you bear the children of the Israelite, right? Of the seed of Israel, right? And there are a few notable mentions, right? And these few notable mentions are all heathen women here that we're about to mention right now, right? They're not Israelite women. In fact, all these women in what we're going to mention today are actually Canaanites, right? Hamites, right? So not even close kin, you know, as you know, some might want to say, oh yeah, but they were related. No, these women were not related to us in any way, right? These were Hamites, right? And so carrying on in verse 2, it says, Abraham beget Isaac, and Isaac beget Jacob, and Jacob beget Judas and his brethren, right? And Judas, okay, which is Judah, begat Perez and Zara of Tamar, right? Tamar, okay, of Tamar, right? Tamar is a woman, right? If you know the story, right? You know who this woman is, but we're gonna go to it. Who is Tamar, right? So if we go to Genesis 38 here, or verse 1, we're gonna get the backstory. In verse 1 it says, and it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite whose name was Hirah, right? And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, right? So Judah, well, let's read it, whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her, right? So Judah straight up was dealing with a Canaanite woman, right? So are all of Judah's children illegitimate? Do they have no, you know, possession or inheritance to be had? Of course not. Don't be stupid, right? They are of the seed of Judah, right? Which is the which is the uh, so what I'm looking for, man. The prerequisite, right, of being an Israelite or being a Judite, right? You have to be of the seed of Judah, right? This woman Shua carried the seed of Judah. She birthed the seed of Judah, so therefore the child is a Judite, okay, with full inheritance rights and all that. All right, so and Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her, and she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name right? So if we go back to Matthew chapter 1, right, we're going to see, is it mentioned? Oh no, okay, mentions the sons, right? So It mentions Pharez. Okay, so we get to that in a minute. All right, so and Onan were Judites. All right, but and Onan were put to death because, they were doing wickedness, right? As we're going to read. Oops. So yeah, and she conceived and bare a son and called his name And she conceived again and bare a son and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son and called his name Shelah. And he was at Kezib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. Right here, so here's this Tamar. Right, again, likely to be a Canaanite woman. Right, because that's where Judah was around. Who was around, right? So it says here, and Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. So was put to death. And Judah said unto Onan, go into thy brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. Right, because it's his seed, right? And Onan knew that the seed would not be his, and it came to pass when he went in unto his brother's wife that he spilled it on the ground. Right, he bust outside, right? Lest that he should give seed to his brother. So he's just being wicked-minded. Right, so and the thing which he did displease the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Right, so and Onan, they were put to death. All right. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, right, remain a widow at my father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown. All right. For he said, let's peradventure die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Right. So Tamar was a widow. Right. Okay. Right. So yeah. So Tamar was a widow. So we're gonna jump down a little bit, I think. Right. Judah's wife died. So he was alone, and he saw a harlot, but this harlot turned out to be Tamar, right? Who was his daughter-in-law, right? Let's see, pick up here. Verse 14, and she put her widow garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which is by the way to Timnath, for she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife, right? So Judah hadn't made good on his promise, basically. He hadn't given her to wife like he said he would. So when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot because she had covered her face, and he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee, for he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me that thou mayest come into me? Right? So the story goes, he gave her a bunch of, couple trinkets, right? Basically to prove that, this is who we dealt with. But we jump down to where's that 3 months part? There we go. Verse 24, and it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also behold, she is with child by whoredom, which it was Judah's child though, right? Because he didn't know that at the time. And Judah said, Bring her forth and let her be burnt. When she was brought forth, she sent unto her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose are these, I am with child. Right? Obviously that was his stuff. And she said, Discern, I pray thee, whose these, the sinket, the bracelet, and the staff. And Judah acknowledged them and said, She hath been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son. And he knew her no more again, or again no more. And it came to pass in time of travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass as he drew back his hand that, behold, the brother came out, and she said, How hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. Afterward came out his brother, that the scarlet thread was upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. All right, so again, bear in mind that Tamar was a Canaanite woman, right? And here we see verse 3, and Judah beget Pharez and Zerah. Okay, he's the sons, obviously, that are part of the Lord's line, right? Pharez and Zerah of Tamar, right? And Pharez beget Esrom. So the line it goes through Pharez, okay, who came out first, okay, but born of a Canaanite woman, right? So is it from this point on that this whole line leading to the Lord is illegitimate? You know, because if you believe that, those believe that you have to be an Israelite, you have to have an Israelite father and an Israelite mother. Well, Israelite women didn't exist, you know, because obviously don't really be laying with their sisters. So where were the men of Judah or men of Israel going to get their wives from? Obviously from the other nations. And like I said, you could say, oh, close near kin from a common family line. But at the end of the day, these women that we mentioned here are from the land of Canaan, and they make up what they play their part in the makeup of the Lord's lineage, right? And so and many other Israelites, right, have heathen women, have heathen mothers, so they are full Israelites, man, pertaining to the scriptures, right? So that's that part. So dealing with Tamar, right? It says, let me read it again. Judah beget Pharez and Zerah of Tamar, and Pharez beget Esrom, and Esrom beget Aram, and Aram beget Amminadab, and Amminadab beget Nason, and Nason beget Salmon, right? So you get to the next part. And Salmon beget Boaz of Rachab, right, which is Rahab of Jericho, right? So Rahab here is a woman, right? And of her was born Boaz. All right. So Jericho and Rahab, right? The land of Canaan. Rahab is Canaanite, right? And so Boaz was born of Rahab, but I don't actually think it mentions her specifically when he was born. Boaz, nope. No. But so you don't hear about Boaz's mother prior to this when he comes in here, right? But like I said, Rahab was Canaanite, okay, or Hamite, right? So and Boaz beget Obed of Ruth, right? Ruth. I just realized what I made a statement. I said they're all Canaanites. Obviously, Ruth is not a Canaanite. Ruth is a Moabitess, Moabite, right? So I'll retract that statement. I don't know why I said that. Then obviously, I knew Ruth was is a Moabite, right? So Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, right? Ruth is another heathen woman again, of Moab. Okay, so we're gonna get into the story behind that, right? So here in Ruth chapter 1, I'm just gonna hit the points, right? Verse 4 says, and they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth, right? And they dwelled there about 10 years. And Mahalon and Chilion died also, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. And she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. All right. So that's just to confirm that she was a Moabite. Right. So we're going to jump to chapter 4, verse 10 here. It says, moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, okay, who died, have I purchased to be my wife. This is Boaz speaking, right? He purchased Naomi's land and Naomi's possessions, and Ruth to be his wife. Okay, so I purchased to be more of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. Right? So again, the children is going to make part of the building. Right? To build up the house of Israel. And do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah. Right? So this is being referenced again because of the situation, of raising seed unto the dead sons of Judah, right? And Onan. Well, Onan refused to bear, give seed to Tamar to bear children unto the house of his brother, right? So this is why it's been mentioned, because Boaz is now doing essentially what Onan should have done. Let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. Right? So this young woman who was a Moabite was cool. You know what I'm saying? The children that she was gonna bear was gonna be bared unto Israel. And no, it's fully accepted, fully fine. Right? No one had an issue with this. Right? This was gonna be Boaz's child. Right? It wasn't gonna be no bastard or some mams or whatever. Right? This was gonna be his child. Right, so Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. Right, and the woman said unto Naomi, blessed be the Lord which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, right? So the child is being deemed as a kinsman, someone of the family, right? That his name may be famous in Israel. And surely, like I said, these children, they became great men, and like I said, they paved the way for the birth of the Messiah. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age, for thy daughter-in-law which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons have borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom, and became to nurse unto it. And the woman her neighbors gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi, which is the mother-in-law. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Right? So, like I said, born of a heathen woman, but it was an Israelite, obviously. Otherwise, none of us are really Israelites. There's been so many heathen women that Israel or Jacob laid down with. A large portion of us wouldn't, be allowed to take part in inheritance, according to some of these guys out there. But they don't even know their their family line is pure, as they would like to see it. Right, with only Israelite parents, they could never know that. They could never know that. So all that posturing that they were doing back then, because they say, oh, what, I got a Judite mother and a Judite father, so I'm a pure Judite, of Israel. I'm pure Israelite. Well, yeah, well, you don't know going back in time if that was the case. So it's just, man to being proud over nothing. But this was the case. Like, women are there to bear the seed of the man, man, and that's how it works, right? The woman doesn't determine the nationality of the child. right? So all this mamza talk is nonsense, right? Because what that really is basically bringing in children of heathen women into the family. They are not of the family. They are the children of of the woman, with whatever partner, husband they had previously. Right? Their children do not become Israelites. They cannot become Israelites. They're not part of the family. They don't have inheritance. They don't have rights. Right? So, but Israel would incorporate them as part of the family. But they weren't. So they were mamzers. They weren't legitimate children. But that's what that really is speaking about. Okay, not what these dullards were trying to get into. But let's see. I got Genesis chapter 38 here. No, that's not what I wanted to read. Oh, 41, right? And this is dealing with Joseph's children, right? Again, Joseph dealt with a Canaanite, right, as we're going to read, right? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and with these, without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zanath Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, a priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt, right? So he was given a wife, okay, of Metazariam, okay, Hamite. So that was his wife, right? And he had children by that woman, by that woman, right? Let's see. Yeah. Jumping down to verse 50. It says, unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. Right? And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, okay, patriarch of the tribes. For God said he said he have made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And then the name of the second called he Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Right, so 2 patriarchs of the Israelites was born of a Canaanite woman, of a Hamite, In Genesis 48 verse 5, and this is what Jacob told Joseph, right? Verse 5 says, and now thy 2 sons Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine, right? They are going to take part in that promise, right? And they basically stand instead of Joseph. Ephraim and Manasseh standing in place of Joseph. Okay, Ephraim being the greater of the 2, right? So when you see Joseph, it's like especially in the 12,000 from each tribe breakdown in Revelation, it mentions the tribe of Joseph. It's speaking about the tribe of Ephraim. Right, I believe that's in chapter 7, isn't it? Is it Revelation 7? Yeah. So you'll see here, where is it? Verse 8. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, okay, which is really referencing Ephraim, because Manasseh has a separate part here. Verse 6. Manasseh is mentioned here in verse 6. Right? But the 2 tribes basically make up the tribe of Joseph, or stand instead of Joseph, because Joseph's inheritance was passed on to his 2 sons. All right. So yeah, again, of a heathen woman. Okay, it doesn't make them any less Israelites. All right. What's that? It's Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the 2nd month, and they declared their pedigrees by their families, by the house of their fathers. Right, it's the father that's important. Right, if the Israelite is it, if the father is an Israelite, then the child is an Israelite. Okay, regardless of who the woman is, where she's from, what she looked like. And it's the thing. That's why Israel has, different features across the board, man. Because we've dealt with other, different nations, women's, and so we've taken on different features, man. But our looks do not determine whether or not we're Israelites. The color of our skin does not determine whether or not we're Israelites. We've got Israelites of all different shades, going all the way down to so-called white, with no melanin, you know. So they're not indicators of whether or not they're an Israelite or not. Okay, we have to use more more subtle things, through the spirit, right? To identify. But only it's all about the seed. It's about the seed of man, right? So if they're of the seed of Israel, then they're of the seed of Israel, man. If their father's an Israelite, then that's what it is. All right. So again, they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. It's Exodus 32 verse 13. So remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thy own self, and saidst unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. Right? So the promise is to the seed, right? And men are in possession of that seed, or the Israelite men are in possession of that seed, right? The woman has cannot interfere with that process. No, that's another lesson I started building. All right, so I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. And until next time, I say shalom.